our nervous system is always on a high, trying to protect ourselves from other people's judgments, when in fact there is no need to be that way. Hey guys, what's up? So, Ramadan Mubarak to everyone who's watching this at the time that it was released. I've got about 30 to 45 minutes before I break my fast, so I thought I'd share something important in my life, something relatable to hopefully a lot of you. So I thought I'd share my thoughts and my advice to you and myself. Let's get into it. You see, there's a fine line between isolation and loneliness. Sometimes we realize it, sometimes we accept it, but most of the time we try to subconsciously swallow it down and not let ourselves know the fact that we are in loneliness. We are lonely rather than in isolation. You probably don't know what I'm talking about in the beginning. Let's just, break it down. You see, for the major portion of the past 2 years, I have been in isolation. In the beginning, it was on purpose because I wanted time for myself. I wanted to discipline myself in the times that the discipline would actually become necessary. I wanted to prepare myself for the future. I looked upon YouTube the concept of self improvement, the ideology of personal development. And it's always been really attractive to me that that concept exists. Trying to be the best version of yourself for both you and whoever you choose to spend your life with, and everyone around you. Trying to be the best version of yourself, that concept is just really addictive to me, at least in theory. So when I did get to, practically applying all of these concepts into my life, I had realized that I needed to be in isolation, in solitude, to kickstart this process. Because let's say you have a group of friends that you spend your time with. It's probably really difficult to sleep very early when that's the case. To wake up really early, to sleep really early, to focus on on yourself, to do something that means something to you without the people around you, the people that you love judging you. All of these problems had arisen, so I thought I should probably just isolate myself. And I didn't do it in a really direct way. It was a very slow process, one that even I'm not really familiar with. So I isolated myself, and it worked, to be honest. Waking up really early, sleeping really early part, it was pretty good. And I felt good about myself. And there has been ups and downs in this, self improvement part. I get to it really well, and then maybe a few days or even a few months, I actually just get off of it. And I've tried my best to come back to it, and I realized it's a lifelong process. But let's not dive into that. Let's focus on the isolation part. I felt something off for the first time in my life after a few months of, isolating myself. See, the thing that I failed to understand was that socializing is part of our biological nature. Human beings, we strive to be with people, to seek some sort of validation in our lives. Because if we don't, we turn into depressed, sort of psychopathical creatures. And it's a biological mechanism inside ourselves to seek validation, to seek love, appreciation, all of that. So, loneliness is in fact, isolation is usually disguised as a sort of freedom in the beginning. In the initial stages, you enjoy this freedom that you have to yourself. You're like, oh my god, I can do a lot of things now without the judgment of other people, without needing to ask other people for permission. I have a lot of freedom right now. But in time, it creeps upon you as this true figure of itself, which is loneliness. You understand that this is not the way that we were meant to live our lives. This is not who we were supposed to be. Even if our self improvement is not as efficient as it would be when we were alone, even if, let's say there's a scenario A, you are alone, you are in solitude. Scenario B, you are with a group of friends. Who do you think would enjoy their lives more? Let's say both of them is undergoing self improvement. Who do you think would enjoy their lives more? Obviously, people in the scenario B, yes, because it's not just about the validation. It's about the color that you're giving your life. In scenario A, life is all just black and white. Seeking validation, seeking appreciation, it's not a bad thing. It's in fact necessary in our lives. The thing is, we've been taught by our society to live this stoic life where it has its ups, but the downs are immeasurable when it comes to socializing. You have to have a sort of family in your life. You have to have this bond with people that are strangers in your life who you connect with eventually and they become your friends. You have to take the effort into making strangers more influential in your lives. Now, I can sit here and talk about it, but if I'm blunt, if I'm honest to you and to myself, I am not in that stage. I am still very much in the isolation phase, in the getting out of the isolation phase. But the problem is, and you probably relate to it, it's a very draining and exhausting process. Socializing is a skill that gets rusty when you don't practice it often. You see, a problem that I had faced in my life is I have a lot of insecurities. Now, I know it's not all true. I know that most of it is just me making stuff up. But it's difficult to get rid of that voice in your head. It's difficult to be present in a conversation when all you can think about is, am I standing up right? Am I sitting down right? Am I saying the right things? Is the other person wary of me? Is the other person distasteful of me? That thought has always creeped up on me and has made me exhausted whenever I tried to socialize. And I thought it was just my social battery running out. And while there is truth to it, the major portion is that we are exhausted. Our nervous system is always on a high, trying to protect ourselves from other people's judgments, when in fact there is no need to be that way. There is no need to care about what other people think. The reality of the world is not a lot of people think about you in any particular way that you want them to or that you don't want them to be, because we're all selfish, yeah? We are all occupied in our minds just thinking about ourselves. We are too occupied to even begin to think about other people. And that applies for strangers too. But all of these are just theories. All of these are difficult to apply in your practical life. It is difficult to be present when you're talking to someone, even if you know all of these concepts. And I am in that stage where I get exhausted, but I do want that essence of social life. I do miss having a people to return to, having someone to share deep thoughts with, to spend late nights, speaking about random shit, yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a partner, a girlfriend, or a boyfriend. I miss having a group of people to return to. And that is the case. That has been the case for a few months of my life, maybe even a few years. And we could always prioritize, we could always think of it this way: I should prioritize my mental health and removing my insecurities, or just accepting my insecurities first. I should focus on that, I should prioritize that, and then I should get into the socializing. When in fact, our mental strength and our mental health can be worked out and should be worked out exactly like how we work out our muscles at the gym. We have to be taking an effort into becoming social first. It's basically like, how do I explain this? I'm going to give you an analogy here. Let's say you're starting out at the gym and you can't do a pull up for some reason. I mean, maybe it's usually your arm strength and stuff. Let's not get into that, but you can't do a pull up. So you start off with lat pull downs. You get into 5, 10, 15 kilos. While that does increase your strength, that doesn't necessarily mean you'll be good at the pull ups. That's the exact same analogy that is practically applied into your social life. You can develop your mental health with some way. You can go to therapy, you can meditate, you can journal, you can work on all that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be good at socializing. It is, while connected, also a different part of your life. But you can develop your arm strength and shoulder strength trying to do pull-ups, doing assisted pull-ups. Doing assisted pull-ups will get you better at pull-ups. That applies to socializing too. You can give a compliment to a person, you can say good morning, you can just smile at a person. All of these counts. These are baby steps. These are the first few reps that you're taking in your life to being able to socialize flawlessly, to being able to have bonds and memories with a lot of people. That is my advice to you. I'm going to be a little selfish here. That is my advice to me as well. Go through with the baby steps. We don't have to know someone in order to say good morning to them. That that subconscious thought has been instilled in us. I don't know since when, I don't know for how long, but we don't have to be friends with someone in order to socialize with them, in order to talk with them, in order to ask them how their day was. Let's socialize using these baby steps. Let's try to say good morning or good afternoon to two people tomorrow. Let's try to smile at five people today. Let's try to ask how someone's day was to one person tomorrow. Let's improve our lives, every aspect of our lives. Let's improve it all together. By the way, if you think content such as these are more helpful to you than the straight up scripted tutorial kind of contents, do let me know, please. Subscribe to Him Protocol, and I'll see you in the next one.